This is the time to welcome our chief guest, Ajit Manan, for giving this the webinar on research and this IPR related thing. So he is going to proceed now. Now the session is yours, Ajit. To take your session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ajit.
Can you see my screen?
It's visible, yeah.
Yeah. So today's topic is copyright a human right? It's regarding intellectual property rights. And my name is Ajit, and I work as the head of security research and testing at Sinox Business and Technology Solutions, Bangalore. So to start with, let's be a small part of history. So human rights. The first human rights like declaration in the history was on 539 BC. It was a clay tablet, the Cyrus cylinder. It is known as the Cyrus cylinder. Then we have Magna Carta. Then we have the Petition of Right. So then we have the United States Declaration of Independence. Then we have the Declaration of Rights of Man and the of Citizen. So these are some of the human rights declarations that happened in the past. And we also have the American Declaration of Rights and Duties of Man, which was brought into existence on April 1948, also known as the Bogota Declaration. So, just a few outline of human rights, which is outlined in the International Bill of Rights. So, the right to equality and freedom of discrimination. So, these things you might have learned in your social classes when you were in schools. So, our focus will be mainly on IPR or copyright, intellectual property rights, and we specifically focus on copyrights and how it is linked to human rights. So, what is a property? We know that intellectual property right. So, in that, what do you mean by a property? So, when we ask an ordinary man, when we ask him what is a property, they will say that it is a thing. So, but when we ask an attorney or who knows the laws and the rules and regulations, when we ask them, they will say they will define that term property as right. So under legal understanding, we can categorize the property, the term property, into three different understandings. One is legal understanding, which means that property is the inclusion of rights of exclusive use and alienability. So when we term property, according to legal understandings, we have certain rights of exclusive use of towards that property, towards that entity, and it is alienable, which means that it is transferable. For example, if you own a car, that car is our property, and that car can be sold or transferred to someone else. Then economic understanding. When it comes to economic understanding of the property, property includes all rights of individuals to valuable resources. It is actually a valuable resource. A property can be considered as a valuable resource for an individual. Then we have the scientific understanding. So properties are attributes, characteristics of qualities that can be applied generally to a group of objects. For example, when we take the term of scientific designs, for example, iPhone, the designs of that iPhone is actually a property of Apple. So if you remember, there was a contradiction. There was a issue where Samsung has allegedly stole the design of Apple iPhone, and they have been penalized. It was like 2 to 3 years before, and that is an example. Like, it's actually, the design is an example of property. So to begin with, Reeves, okay, that is actually a rule. That's actually a policy, and the definition of property, what he says is that owner A owns property P if and only if A has the right to use P, or A may exclude others from using P, or A may transfer rights. So property, these things are like the so a property is defined upon someone if and only if these are the categories. So property involves a bundle of rights, including the rights of usufruct. That means that the property can be used. The benefits of that property can be used by the owner of that property. Usufruct means that benefits, exclusivity, and alienability. Like I told you, it can be transferable. The entire bundle can be held by one person or divided among multiple parties or even an organization. And property rights confer power. So the property rights gives the owner some power towards that property. We'll see to that. So when we say property, there are tangible property and intangible property. So tangible means, again, it can be divided into two. One is movable and one is immovable. So when we come to movable, we can give an example of a car, like I told you. And then immovable properties are there. For example, we have the buildings or the land property. Then intangible or the intellectual property. So intellectual properties are something that comes from the intellect or the consciousness or the mind of a person. So in that also we have two different types. One is industrial property related and then copyright related. So when it comes to industrial property related, we have all the scientific patents, designs, trademarks, and geographical inclusions and stuff. Also we have the other side, we have copyright related, which is art, which can be software, which can also be a illustration, literature, anything. Then coming to IPR, intellectual property right. So exclusive right given to a person over the creation of their minds for a certain period of time. Like I told you, everyone has creativity. It is like how they use that creativity. So if a person comes up with an idea which can be converted into a property, the IPR rules give that person some rights towards the creation of their own minds. So it's actually a legal right, and it's intangible personal asset, and it gives you a monopoly over that particular property, and it also have a negative rights, that is prevent others to use his or creation for a definite time. So we can say, like for example, the logo of one particular we can say Nike. Okay, Nike logo is looks like a tick mark that cannot be used anywhere without the permission, without the written, documented, recorded permission of Nike organization. So that is an example. So that design has been particularly made with a creative mind of their own team, so that cannot be used by anyone else. Or we can also say a photograph or a artwork, a piece of art, that also comes from the mind of a artist or a photographer, that cannot be used in anywhere. For example, if I am using if I am working on a international business meeting, okay, where my presentation will be seen by around thousands of people. If I am using a particular image or a photograph of some asset, that photograph I should not get without the permission. Otherwise, it should be called as stock photos. Stock photos are photographs that is copyright free, or they have given a permission to distribute. So without that, if I'm using a particular photograph from other photographer without the permission, that can be illegal. So this particular right is given to the person with IPR rules. So there are different types of IPRs. We have patents, we have copyrights, we have geographical indications, trademarks, industrial designs. So the intellectual property rights and it is recognized and applied all over the world due to very important reasons. The reasons are to provide incentive to individuals for new creations. So why we need this particular rights? So one thing is that if someone, a scientist or an artist, gives something to the society, he needs something in return, like a small amount of money or some motivations to continue his work. So for that, he can use a copyright. So each and every time someone uses his property, he'll be given a particular share of the profit. Then to accord due recognition to the creators and inventors. So if I am using a particular tool, For example, telephone was invented by Graham Bell. So when we use telephone, we all know that this person has created this. So that is a recognition given to that inventor. Then to ensure material reward for intellectual property. Like I told you, sometimes we'll get money when we sell something. If we are selling Leonardo's Mona Lisa, so that particular painting worth millions, that amount will be actually going to that particular painter. So like material rewards are like money, or in return whatever they are getting, that is material rewards, or to make available genuine and original products. So there's a lot of copies of one particular painting. Okay, so we should know which is the original product. So using copyright, we can know that okay, this one is a particular original and genuine product. So these are the reasons why this came to this has been implemented. So rights of a property owner. The property owner also have some rights. Okay, these rights are right to own, right to exclusively use, right to disallow others from its use, right to sell, right to transfer, right to donate, right to rent, right to lend, right to derive profit out of it. So these are the particular rights that is given to a property owner. And the property, like I told you before, the property involves a bundle of rights. These are the rights. The entire bundle can be held by one person or divided among multiple parties. So that can we can give an example like if two persons invent something, the rights will be given equally to those persons. Okay, if for example some scientific instruments or scientific inventions, it will be associated with two different persons. Okay, they come work together and they might have invented that. So each and every one of that team will be given the entire rights of the IPR. Then property rights confer power. They have these powers over the property. Then like I told you before, there are different types of IPRs. One is patents. So patents are given for inventions like products, processes, materials, composition. So products, we can know any product which we invent is considered to be an invention. Then processes. For some example, one particular way of mixing concrete to give it more stability. That is actually a process. So that process can be considered as an invention. Or materials. Materials can be like raw materials, like certain raw materials, like particular type of cement, which gives more strength to the building. That can be a material. Or compositions, different kind of chemical compositions, which is invented newly from the previous one. That can be also considered as a invention. Then we have technical solution to a technical problem. So that also can be considered as a patent. Then we have industrial designs. Industrial designs are like I told you, a lot of new designs of architecture that feels appealing to the eye, or new shape, or a pattern, or a configuration. That can be considered as a industrial design. Then we have trademarks. So trademarks, a visual symbol such as a word, name, logo, label, or monogram, or even slogan, are considered as a trademark. Then we have applied on etc. that are applied on articles of manufacture or service. So logos, all these things are trademarks. When you copy something from them, it is actually illegal. A lot of duplicates are coming. They are called like first copy, like dresses, watches. So these are actually illegal, but they are selling it without the knowledge of the company. Then we have copyrights. Copyrights, like I told you, it's for artistic or literary or musical or even dramatic creations, proprietary rights, and it came into existence as soon as the work is created. Okay, so once the work is done, we can apply for a copyright. Then geographical indications, agriculture, nature, or manufactured goods originating from a definite territory of India. For example, you might have heard about the Vechur cow. So that Vechur is a place. Okay, so that's as a geographical indication. Then we also have recently Rasgulla, okay, that has been a topic of discussion where Bengal told that it is their own kind of thing. So these are all geographical indication. Also, we can say one best example is Kolhapur slippers. Okay, Kolhapur is a place where they manufacture a particular kind of slippers. So this is very famous, and that particular slipper is known as Kolhapur slipper because of this geographical indication has been given to that slippers. Then we have classification of IPR. We have industrial property, that is patents, industrial design trademarks, then trade secrets, then geographical indications, utility models. One example for this can be the recipe of Coca-Cola. It's a fun fact that Coca-Cola recipe, the original recipe, is secretly and securely kept in a vault inside the headquarters of Coca-Cola. So this recipe is actually a trade secret of Coca-Cola, and it is protected under the IPR. Then we have artistic or literary property. We have example of copyright. So when a person writes a novel or a story, it is his own. It is the intellectual property of his mind or creativity. So that is an example of artistry and literary property. Then we have sui generis system, which means of its own kind. For example, database. Okay. Then we have integrated circuits, plant breeders. So these are all particular types of its own kind. So these are all examples of classifications of IPR. So an IPR is a fixed term. It has a fixed term. So patent, the maximum protection will be for 20 years. After that, they have to renew it, or else what happens is that anyone can get the patent, the same patent. There will be like multiple persons making same goods. So whoever applies first with the evidence will get the patent. Then trademarks. So trademarks are lifelong, but it has to be renewed after 10 years. Okay. Then we have designs. 15 years is the maximum protection. Then we have copyright, 60 years, and geographical indication is lifelong but renewed after 10 years. So coming to copyright, we'll be focusing more on copyright. Copyright is a legal term describing the rights given to a creator for their literary and artistic work. So the works covered in copyright includes literary works such as novels, poems, plays, reference works, newspapers and articles, computer programs and databases. So this is why I told that we'll be focusing more on copyright, because in our industry this has a lot of impact. Computer programs and databases, then films, musical compositions, dance, theatrical productions, all those things. And we have artistic works such as paintings, drawings, photographs and sculptures. Then we also have architecture, advertisements, maps, technical drawings and manuals. So copyright came into existence as soon as the work is created and protects the skill and labor employed by the creator in the production of his work. So a software, when we make a software, we have a lot of like issues, struggles, and a lot of efforts that has been put into the production of the software. So those skills and labors and effort that is taken by the creator or the developer to be considered. So that is why copyright came into existence. Then copyright is a kind of intellectual property like we learned before, and copyright gives the right to the creators of like that particular intellectual property, and it is for a limited time. After that it goes into the public domain. Okay, so this gives a protection for a limited time after it goes to the public domain. So for copyright protection we have certain rules. The work must be original, like I told you. The work must be fixed or presented in a tangible form such as writing, film or photography. In our domain it will be like codes. Then we have created by any qualified person. Any qualified person can create a particular intellectual property which is protected under copyright. So first copyright was given to publishers called as known as stationers. So interplay of human rights and IPR. So, what human rights, the key international human rights instruments have acknowledged that intellectual property have an intrinsic value as an expression of humans' creativity and dignity. So, what it means that it acknowledges that all the intellectual products have an intrinsic value as an expression of human creativity and dignity. So it has a value that it came from the one particular individuals or a group of individuals creativity and their dignity. Also in article 27 under section 1 of the universal declaration of human rights states that everyone has the right to the protection of their moral and material interest resulting from any scientific, literary or artistic production of which he is the author. So he has the benefits from the product that he has been created, right? Then this right is linked to another provision, that is section 2 of article 27. Everyone has the right freely to participate in the cultural life of the community, to enjoy the arts and share the scientific advancement and its benefit. So anyone can participate in the cultural and scientific domain of the community. So if I want to invent something, or if I want to contribute something towards the art or the art culture of my society, I can do that. I can create my own art from my own thoughts, and I can claim a copyright for that. Okay, even if it is like a simple drawing, okay, which is new and came from my own creativity, I can definitely go and file a copyright. So the rights of the copyright owners. So these are the rights: rights for production, exclusive right to make copies of the work. So if I take a copyright for my own photograph, I can print it anywhere I want. Okay. The rights of modification and adaptations. So if I have a design, if I have a software designed, I can modify however I want to. Then rights for distribution. I can distribute my software or my intellectual product anywhere, right? It's for public performance. Okay, so this comes in act where like it is creative, that is artwork or a play or a music. So this can be performed publicly. The rights for public display, again artworks, it can be displayed anywhere publicly if I want to. Then we have copyright and human rights. Okay, so copyright protection is not per se a human right. So what it means that copyright is actually not a human right, but it is a tool which protects the human rights of the authors and publishers. Then copyright has two elements that relates to human rights. One is it has an element linked to someone's personal creativity and identity, and the second one is the economic aspect. So as an author's right, copyright is not expressly mentioned in the international human rights and conventions. Instead, international treaties and national constitutions allude it to be by giving creators and scientists the benefit of protection of the moral and material interests resulting from any scientific, literary and artistic production of which he is an author. Which means that if a author or a creator is given a copyright protection, it gives the right for that particular creator or an author to enjoy the benefits or the material benefits that comes out of that particular creation. Now, as a property right, how we can see copyright? As a property right, copyright is a form of intellectual property and therefore enjoys protection as part of the human right of the property. It is enshrined in Article 17 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So, as a property right, it gives the protection as a part of the human rights to the property. So, if I created something, that is my property. Okay, so it considers the property right like that. So, copyright law is a tool for resolving conflict between human rights and the policy obligations. On one hand, the objective to enable citizens to have access to culture, and on the other hand, to ensure that scientists and authors, that is potentially the creators, are able to support their livelihood through their research findings and creative endeavors. So what happens is that many of us have learned, like many of us seen in movies and all, where like in many of the houses of the artists, they'll be like, you'll be like roaming around without doing any job, just like paintings and stuff. So this actually gives the artist a way to support their lives with the benefit of their product, that is their artworks. So whatever they have created, it is their own property. If they want to sell it, they can sell it. If anyone else created something similar to it and sell it, the copyright protection helps them to reclaim their property. So now coming to our domain, software copyright in India. In India, software can be protected under the Copyright Act 1957 or the Patents Act 1970 and a touch of ingenuity to it. So it is required to protect it correctly. It can be protected under Patent Act only if it has a technical effect. Otherwise, it can be protected only under Copyright Act 1957. So each and every time, sorry, a software is made, it should be copyrighted by the organization or the developer. Otherwise, what happens is that a software, for example, a solution for a particular problem. Let's say we need a software to automate the marks, categorization of marks in the examination. It can be made in C++, it can be made in VB.NET, it can be made using Python. So each and every time a developer comes with a new version, he or she will be given a copyright according to the genuinity of it. Okay. So if I created a particular software in C++ and applied a patent on it, then what happens is that they will check if this similar patent has been applied elsewhere. After that, if it is not there, he will be awarded the patent. So what happens is that next time when someone else comes to the patent office saying that I made this in Python, the same thing in Python. So what happens is that it will check for the technical effect. Okay, if it has a unique technical effect, he will be awarded a patent. Otherwise, he will not be awarded a patent. He will be protected with the Copyright Act of 1957. Okay, you might have heard about these things. So this is a very common thing. The copy of Windows is not genuine. In India, or when we take the world, in the world there are a lot of pirated softwares. Okay, so this is actually illegal, but they are not taking action because they don't have the time to go behind all these things. Otherwise, it is actually illegal. We are bound to pay the fine, or we are bound to pay the penalty of these things. So software piracy in India, like I told you, India lacks a strict piracy law, but the minimum jail term for software copyright infringement in India is 7 days, and the maximum jail term is 3 years. So if Microsoft sues you for pirating Windows copy of a window, you are bound to serve a jail term of 7 days. It is not happening because they are not filing a complaint. Then the statutory fines range from a minimum of 50,000 to a maximum of 2 lakhs rupees. So if there is a software company called X, and their product is XYZ, and if I stole my company stole a particular module of that particular software, and if they found out that and they are filing a complaint, after the verdict, if they find that this is true, I am supposed to pay a maximum of 2 lakh rupees for the particular module. So this encourages piracy as a result, small pirated software markets have mushroomed in almost every city in the country. So this, compared to the market, it is very less. If I am taking a software copy from someone else, all I have to do is that 7 days. and most of the time they are not filing a complaint. So this actually started encouraging a lot of people, and they have like a lot of pirated software markets have been there. For example, one famous pirated market is Pirates Bay. You might have heard that. There is a lot of getintopc.com. Lot of pirated software markets are there where you can easily get licensed softwares for free, actually. So my question: can we copyright a website? We'll take a scenario from India. A website, as you know, is a compilation of text, photographs, graphics, computer programs, and videos created by several people, right? So what happens is that it cannot be bracketed. The entire thing cannot be copyrighted into one. So each and every component has to be copyrighted separately. So what they are saying is that copyright registration will cover the copyrightable elements of the website that are submitted to the Copyright Office as a part of the registration. And even updates, each and every time the update is pushed to the website, it should be registered distinctively. Then for a computer program that launches the format of text and graphics, when a website is viewed on a computer screen, one can register the copyright in the computer program, but the registration cannot cover the content of the website. So for example, if there is a browser or a particular tool that is used to view a website, if we copyright the tool that we created, the copyright protects the tool alone. It does not belong to the website that is, or the particular element that is viewed by the tool. So we can also say, give an example. If I have created a photo viewer app, okay, the app is copyrighted, but we cannot claim that each and every photo that is viewed through the app cannot be our own, cannot be protected under this copyright. So open source. When you many of my friends, they have similar doubts. So what they have asked is that when we contribute to the open source, does that mean that our copyright is lost? It is not like that. Each and every time when you give a source code to the open source platform, our license or our copyright will be there. But what happens is that others are free to edit this particular module and then they can distribute it. It's not like we can actually claim if I am taking if there is a person, Ankit, for example. Ankit is an open source provider of a particular software. So he has created a tool to visualize Python data visualization tool. And what I did, I copied it from the platform, open source platform, and I changed some things, and I created a new tool with a new name using his code. And if I market it for $2, he can file a complaint against me because the copyright is still under him. So to the conclusion, human rights and copyright are two distinct and contrary arenas of the laws which intersect each other at various points. And copyright is regarded as a means of incentivizing the creation of a new works as a source of dissemination of work. While on the other hand, the human rights framework of intellectual property in UDHR and ICE SCR aims to offer individuals and well-merited protection of their moral and material interest to the intellectual creation. So copyright cannot be considered as a human right, but as a tool to protect the rights of the creator. So it gives the creator the power to get benefits out of his own creation.
Or just few minutes. Or this is the time to say a vote of thanks. Vote of thanks to Mr. Prakash, Assistant Professor, Department of CS, is going to give a vote of thanks. Mr. Prakash, now session is you.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. Thanks to Mr. Ajit for giving his valuable thoughts regarding the intellectual property rights and what are all the product-oriented property rights, patent rights, all these things. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you so much. I think students have gained some information regarding IPR and different property patent rights. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you so much for everyone participating in this webinar. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Ali.
Thank you, Ajit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Thanks for
Thank
giving
you.
an opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajit.